Hello, people. Hello. It is again Sunday. Time for your favorite show to talk about our guitarists. We pick out different guitarists, doing different solos. We go through we're going to go through a whole plethora of them. Today, I think is Planet Solos episode number 7, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Today, the episode will be showcasing the smooth sounds of Mr. George Benson. But before we get into that, how you doing today, Chris? What's going on with you?
I'm doing well, and just some computer issues earlier, as you know. I had to get everything ready because tonight I have, my weekly wrap up as usual. And well, when people watch this, it'll be before that. It's at 4:00. But then I also have the Mandalorian Roundtable, which you're on, which I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
and then tonight.
That's going to be fire.
Oh, yeah. And then tonight, it will be Name That Tune Christmas edition. So I've got this is the busy Sunday for me, which, I mean, every Sunday in a sense is busy, but today is a special because I got to get Christmas music together for Name That Tune. I had to make sure I got everything lined up for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but typical Sunday.
Well, today we're going to talk about one of my favorite guitarists. This was my week to pick, and I picked, of course, Mr. George Benson. I've always liked his sound. I remember seeing him on a show I used to watch back in the 80s called Solid Gold.
Oh, yeah.
And he always stuck with me. I did some research on him and didn't realize that he was a child prodigy. He started playing at like the age of 8 and 9, almost professionally at that age.
7, if I remember right. But no, I mean, yeah.
That's crazy. I know during the 80s and 90s, he had a very good following, and I still think he has a pretty good following here now. Haven't heard much about him because I think, if I remember correctly, he's about 77 years old, so he's probably not as active as he once did, but that's a skill set that
I'd say right now that I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying that once that's a skill set you get and you don't lose that as long as your health is up. And I haven't heard anything about him not being in poor health or anything, just kind of up in age. But Mr. Benson, man, when I listen to his particular playing guitar and his sound, smooth instantly comes to my mind.
Exactly.
It looked like he's not rushed. It looked like he's almost flirting with his guitar the way he plays, and he always has like a little smile on his face, and usually his eyes is closed, and his style to me is flawless. But the first word that comes to me is smooth. Don't like he practiced to me. Like he was just naturally okay. I picked it up. I knew what to do. I know how to do this. That's how effortlessly he looks when he plays to me.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I mean, heck, most of the stuff we've seen, the 80s, late 70s, I think, is really picked up steam. So by then he was already about, 30 or so, 33, 34. Dude, this guy had been playing for 20 plus years already. I mean, and you don't, I just think in the 70s and 80s, that smooth jazz sound is kind of where I put this. That really picked up steam. It's still around, but it's more like that, if you want to go hear that, the bar to go to, the place it's going to be playing it. But back then in the 70s and 80s, Christopher Cross, a lot of the main styles, even if it wasn't considered smooth jazz, soft rock, that type of thing, it all hit right there in that late 70s or 80s area, early 80s. And he was right at the top of that wave that hit. And he's just been able to ride that. I mean, he even had some, he was pretty popular in the 90s. And I think maybe, like most people, he's probably a guy that runs around and goes to these jazz festivals and plays. And, unless you know his name, you're just there. You're going to chill to the music because, he's a great guitarist. This song in particular, what you're picking out here, Breezin', is a great thing to hear what his sound was. You know, a lot of people, like I said, back in the 70s, late 70s, this was the sound that you wanted, and he was the top of those people who could play it and deliver it perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Well, about him, like there's no whammy bar, no distortion. It's just the sound. That particular sound of that guitar is clean, and when you see him playing it, man, where his fingers slide up and down the fret. I know everybody does it, but to me, I'm just saying his looks like it's just was meant to be, like it's instinctual. It doesn't like he's looking down trying to see is that where his fingers at. He's just, like I say, the word that comes to mind to me is smooth. To me, he is one of the smoothest guitar players I've seen in my entire life. So he's definitely one of my favorites. He's definitely in my top 10.
I'm trying to think here. You know, the thing is it's so clean. I mean, when it's clean like this, it's very difficult to hide anything maybe you aren't perfect at, which is why for him, the sound you get, like people like Steely Dan, I always said when you hear him live, it sounds just like what you're listening to on the CD. He's the same type of guy. Very clean, very tight is a good word to put it. No flaws. Similar to Roy Clark and the fact that Roy Clark didn't use a lot of effects. I mean, but a lot of big time guitarists use a lot of effects, distortion, a little bit of distortion, some stuff in there that adds to the sound. That hides things occasionally. But when you're somebody like, you know, George Benson, it's
purist.
Yeah, you can't hide behind nothing. I mean, it's right there for you. So yeah, and this particular performance is really good. It's a really good.
We're gonna see coming up next is a performance on the Midnight Special. That's like a variety show that came on, I think, in the 70s and early 80s. It showcased a lot of the popular artists that were out during that time, and we're gonna get an extra added treat because he's gonna be do like a duo, get instrumental with Carlos Santana, who is not taken off the board because of this, but just happened, this clip just happened to showcase a young Carlos Santana, young George Benson collaborating on one of George's biggest hits called Breezin'. So without further ado, we'll hop in on that and let you enjoy. One of the things I immediately noticed is that George is not looking at his guitar.
No, he isn't.
I
think it's funny because, well, not funny. I think you can tell when they're playing together, they've already practiced and they've picked their parts, who's going to do what, and so they're looking at each other for timing. They're like, okay, I'm going. Now it's your turn. This is how they communicate, is that eyes and stuff, but they're both having a good time. And like you said, he's got one of those smiles, man. It's infectious. It's a really nice smile. And that guitar, as you see, I want to say that looks like an acoustic electric because it's got a wider body. So it's very classic, I guess is what you'd say. It's definitely not a full-on electric guitar because it's got that body being as wide as it is. When you look at the two guitars there, that has sound holes in it. That's so he can unplug that and still get good sound out of it.
You see, both of these guys use pick. Most artists in the back when we showcase in the past didn't use pick so much. Well, Roy Clark did.
I know Alice noticed that the guitar that George is using here is very similar to like what no, my name just went out. Brian Setzer used.
Yeah,
it's very similar.
They play two totally different styles. Because Brian Setzer is rockabilly,
Yeah.
and George is classic jazz. Devil can tell that Tito Santana sound. I'm sorry, Carlos Santana sound.
Yeah. There you go.
One thing George was also famous for, he would sing his notes. Every note he sang, he would vocalize it with his voice. A lot of his songs.
Exactly. But this sound is this is his signature sound.
Now that he's using his thumb, he's not using a pick. Now he transition to the pick.
See, and like I said, you know, not all guitarists who are good will go fast, but he just showed you right there he can. Mm-hmm. And it's very clean, and you hear every note he's picking there. It's not like it's rushed or anything. And what's funny is if you listen to George's guitar, it's clean. Carlos has got that little bit of grunge distortion to it. What always gets me is these guitarists. I mean, the reason why this song is written is because he was just playing around. They were jamming. I guarantee you that his band was just jamming around. Because you listen to the music in the background, the drums, the bass, and all that, nothing's changing. It's a very steady, consistent beat. But that gives them a chance to add into that. They stay in the same octave range and play around in that range and those notes. And so look at it.
Put his fingers, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
Yes. Sugarman. Yep.
You know, I have seen that show on, the commercials about getting all the episodes and seeing all the people. I thought about getting it from time to time because that's a lot of video and audio footage of some people that we will never hardly see again. YouTube is good. We can get a lot of stuff on YouTube, but just to see it live like that, I think would be awesome. But like I said, man, George Benson, he's definitely in my top 10. I love his music. Because I first got hooked when I saw him perform. I think it's Turn Your Love Around on Solid Gold.
Mm-hmm.
First time I remember seeing him, not hearing him, but seeing him and putting up a face with the name. Mm-hmm. And I've been a fan ever since.
The first time I saw him live was at a jazz concert here in Kansas City. And we got a good jazz and blues foundation here in the city. And I didn't know it was him. I knew the song, and I think it was Brazen and I heard it playing. Sometimes they got 2 or 3 stages. I think they had 2 stages at this one, but I heard it over here. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm gonna go check that out. And I saw that, and I asked one of the guys right there, and I says, who is that? And he says, man, that's George Benson, man. You don't know who that is? I'm like, isn't that the guy that wrote this song? And he's like, yeah, man. And I was like, again, when you see it live, it adds, again, it's amazing when you hear it. You're like, holy crap, it sounds like somebody's just playing a CD.
I love artists like that. When I go to a concert and it's different, sometimes different can be better. But like when it's different than what you see on the radio, sometimes I'm like, but hey.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's the exact same notes. I'm just saying the sound. Sound is exactly the same. It's not like, I don't know. I mean,
that's a true artist too, because sometimes it's bad to say that they get a lot of help in the studio.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. But then when you see them live and they sound just as good or better, and that's when I'm like, yeah, okay, that person is on the top of his or her game. When it sounds bad in live, I'm like, a little bit too much studio help. But that is not the case for Mr. Benson.
No, but then again, he's from a different age where you were. I
think he's from Pittsburgh, if I remember correctly.
Oh no, I'd have to look here.
Yeah, he grew up in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. He came from a different era of musicians who took pride in it. I'm not sure how many musicians, or I guess I'd call them artists. I don't really know how many musicians are left in music right now.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Well, I know. I mean, there's rappers who come up with beats and stuff, and okay, I mean, there's some musicianship behind that. I'm not trying to take that away from, but I mean, a true on musician who plays guitar, or like some of these guys. I mean, they play drums, guitar,
multiple instruments.
Yeah.
A lot of older guys play multiple instruments.
Yeah,
instruments that we're learning as we do this show. Like Roy Clark, I think he can play every string instrument ever made. That is incredible.
Oh yeah, but he comes from a different age where you took pride in it. And like, for instance, there were certain, like, I think American Bandstand, I think some of the people that they'd have on there, they'd play the actual track, and they just sit there and act like they're singing or playing. This type of guy right here, no, this is all real. You can tell where the chords are plugged into the guitar. You know this is him playing. He took pride in this. He wasn't going to go the easy route and play what he played in the studio. He's going to play it right there. And more these days, you just don't get that. I mean, think about, and this is a horrible person to bring up, but Ashley Simpson, who played a backing track while she was on Saturday Night Live. I mean, just, I don't know. Music, what it was, is unfortunately going away. And I like doing this because this brings back into the light some of these great artists that we have had in the past. And I mean, that's not to say that people who like music today that there aren't good artists. There are, but it's just
different. It's different. Something we're not used to, and I'm happy that we're showcasing possible guitarists that people never heard of or forgot about. Try to keep that vibe, that name, and that sound alive. So, like I said, I'm glad Mr. Benson is still here with us. I hope he continues to have a long life and continue to amaze and wow his fans through his travels. I would pay to see him if you ever get rid of this funny disease.
Yeah, I can't wait till after that and we start getting live concerts. I heard somebody say the other day that live music and live music events and concert spaces, they were the first to be closed down. Sporting events were the first to be closed down, and music events and things like that are going to be the last thing to open back up, which is sad because music is needed. And
hopefully this vaccine they talk about, hopefully it will do what it's supposed to do and not have any kind of crazy effects or long-term effects. I hope not. But having said that, we are now coming to the close of the show. Again, I hope you enjoyed the awesome performance that we provided here. Mr. Benson, also extra added bonus was Mr. Santana, who is not stricken off our list. I'm not sure which one of us will pick him, but I'm sure one of us will. Next week it'll be next Sunday. Yeah, we do one next Sunday. Want to? It'll be Chris's choice. Then I'll be taking a break, probably the month of January, but I will definitely be back in February to resume. I already know who I want to pick. I was just looking at him about 2 days ago, and say, yeah, he's gonna be my next choice. But whoever Chris picks, I'm sure would be very exciting. So far, everyone we picked with the exception of Danny. What was Danny's last name?
Gatton.
Gatton is on. I'm not. He's the only one I have not been familiar with. Everybody else, I have heard them play, of knew of them, and knew a little bit about their background. So until then, next show, we appreciate your support. Until then, man, stay safe. Have a good holiday. I hope you a Merry Christmas and a fantastic and Happy New Year. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.